Anyone remember the opioid crisis? The pills, the promises, the devastation? Well, what if I told you that Big Pharma's playbook really hasn't changed that much? All they've done is swap out the product. In the early 2000s, it was OxyContin. Today, it's hormone blockers. Different drug, same tactic, same profits. And just like before, critics are being silenced while the public is being sold a miracle cure. Welcome back to Flip the Script. I'm Dr. Lee, and today we are digging into one of the biggest medical déjà vu moments in modern history. Big Pharma gave us OxyContin, and we all know how well that turned out. And now they are pushing hormone blockers, and it's feeling way too familiar. We've seen this before, but the real question is, are we paying attention this time? So let's rewind back to the late 90s. Purdue Pharma introduced OxyContin, marketing it as a revolutionary solution to chronic pain. Doctors were told it was less addictive than other opioids, that you could prescribe it more liberally, that pain relief was a human right. They even founded pain organizations, paid for continuing education, sponsored research, all of this in hopes to promote this narrative. And the result? Well, by 2010, opioid prescriptions had quadrupled. People trusted their doctors. Doctors trusted the pharmaceutical reps. And nobody wanted to believe that addiction could come from a safe medication. But the truth was buried in the fine print. By the time the lawsuits started piling up, over 500,000 Americans had died from opioid overdoses. Entire towns were left devastated. Purdue paid billions in settlements. The company was dissolved, but no amount of money could reverse the damage. And here's what's wild. The tactics that Purdue used, they weren't new. In fact, they're still being used today. Does any of this sound familiar? Take a drug, oversell the benefits, downplay the risks, target vulnerable groups, pressure doctors to prescribe it, and then frame critics as heartless or misinformed. This isn't some conspiracy theory. It is documented history, and we are watching the same pattern unfold again, only this time it's a different drug. Hormone blockers. Hormone blockers, also called puberty blockers, were originally developed to treat rare conditions like precocious puberty, which is a medical condition that occurs when kids start puberty way too early. But in recent years, they're being prescribed off-label for gender dysphoria in minors to pause puberty and give time to decide about medical transitioning. Supporters call them safe, reversible, even life-saving. Critics say that prescribing these medications without long-term data is like playing with fire. And that's exactly the point. We do not have decades of research on giving these drugs to otherwise healthy kids. We are relying on short-term studies, small samples, and very little follow-up into adulthood. Now you tell me if any of this sounds familiar. A drug originally meant for rare cases gets expanded to a much broader group. Pharmaceutical companies claim that it's totally safe despite limited long-term research. Doctors are pressured to prescribe or face accusations of negligence or bias, and critics who raise concerns are labeled as dangerous, uninformed, or hateful. Does that sound like a new story to you? Or does that sound like the same old playbook? Back in the 2000s, if you dared question opioid safety, you were accused of letting patients suffer in pain. And today, if you question puberty blockers, you were told that you were denying healthcare and putting kids at risk. It's the same emotional manipulation, designed to shut down real questions before they're even asked. The book of Isaiah warns us about a time when right and wrong get flipped, and when light's called darkness and darkness gets called light, and that is exactly what we are seeing now. Truth being silenced in the name of compassion. And let's talk money. The gender-affirming market is projected to hit $5 billion by 2030. Every prescription for a puberty blocker, every dose of cross-sex hormones, every follow-up appointment, well, that's just recurring revenue for life. This isn't about one-time treatments or short-term therapies. It is about creating lifelong medical dependency. Big Pharma's profit model doesn't exist in a moral vacuum. It impacts real families, real lives, and it often preys on the vulnerable. What makes this so dangerous is that concern isn't even allowed. Providers are afraid to speak up. Medical boards are afraid to look biased. Parents are afraid of being labeled. Meanwhile, studies are emerging that show potential risks of prescribing these hormone blockers, like decreased bone density, impacts on brain development, unknown fertility consequences. But you try and talk about it and you are shut down. You are being told it's all perfectly reversible. Just like they said that OxyContin had less than a 1% addiction rate. If asking questions makes you the enemy, maybe it's because the truth threatens a system that doesn't want to be challenged. And why is that? Shouldn't healthy, transparent systems welcome debate, invite pushback, to make sure that every angle has been considered before moving forward with an agenda that can alter the future of an entire generation? Let me be clear. I believe in compassionate care. I believe in supporting kids in distress. And I believe gender dysphoria is real. But I also believe people face deep, painful struggles, whether it's body dysmorphia, addiction, or one of the other countless forms of mental and emotional anguish that weigh people down today. As healthcare providers, we do a profound disservice when we ignore the deeper layers of suffering and pretend that these struggles can be fully healed with quick fixes or prescriptions. At the core, these are not just medical or psychological issues. They are struggles that run deep to the very depths of people's souls. And when we try to relegate healing to something as simple that can be confined to a pill bottle or rush towards solutions without asking what's really driving the pain, we miss the bigger picture. There is a deeper restoration people are longing for, something no medication or procedure alone can provide. True healing addresses the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. Anything less risks people leaving them more broken than when we found them. When corporate profits drive the narrative instead of transparent science, we all lose. We need more research, more caution, and more open dialogue. Because once again, we are talking about a generation being put at risk, while the pharmaceutical companies walk away once again with the profits. So what do? We stay vigilant. We test every claim. We hold fast to truth. Because if we've learned anything from the opioid crisis, it is this: that just because a drug is FDA approved does not mean that it is risk-free. Just because a treatment is framed as life-saving doesn't mean it's safe for everybody. And just because critics are being silenced doesn't mean they're wrong. We've been here before. Let's not repeat it. Drop your thoughts below. What do you think? Is this déjà vu or something new? Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe and share this video if you found it valuable, and check out the other videos that should be popping up on the screen.